to the playoffs, but unfortunately, the lights went out on the Lions. I thought of starting the show in the dark because I'm sure that's how a lot of Lions fans have felt. I was at the working for the NFL at the Steelers game last Sunday when I couldn't be on the show, and it was nothing like I had expected. I knew the Steelers would show up and play hard and tough, and because obviously they were in the running, still are, for a playoff spot for the AFC Northern Division championship. Got a big game, essentially a playoff game next week against the Ravens. But that Lions Steelers game was shocking to me. I've never seen a Lions offense in this current era since Dan Campbell took over get just stymied for the first three quarters, and then even for the whole game when you look at the running totals, which were and still are shocking. Now, obviously, Jared Goff and the offense put things together in the fourth quarter and made it incredibly close, but I don't know, that was just shocking to me to see how those two running backs could be thwarted like they were bottled up like they were by the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers did a good job against, Lions offensive line that's a little banged up right now, but it really feels like that game just has echoes. I mean, obviously hindsight's always 2020 in the sport and when you're looking back at it, but it seems like losing that game just kind of took out a lot of the emotional, almost all the emotional gas out of the tank for the Lions, right? A lot of players going into that Christmas Day game against the Vikings had kind of, voiced their displeasure about the NFL making them play on both Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so it seems like their heart just wasn't really in it. And I mean, I feel like it would have been one thing if the Steelers just won by like 9 or 10 points, right, with the season on line, but to have the game end in such a weird kind of controversial manner with some, again, really weird operations from that officiating crew and announcing the final thing, it really hurts. And I think the Lions as well, a long off season, no playoffs will do them good. I think there's a lot to look at. Injuries obviously happen, right? But there's some things schematically the last two games that just aren't working out clearly, and that just need to get fixed. So there's a lot for them to look under the hood and get better at after this off season. But man, yeah, that Pittsburgh game was a really disappointing one to drop.
It really was, and it should have been, as you alluded to, a portent of things to come, because on Christmas Day, I shared with a few people, thank God I am not a bettor, that I don't bet, because if I was, and if I were, I was convinced that because of the Lions offense, despite, the players that they're missing along the offensive line, I just thought the Lions offense would prevail, and the Lions defense was good enough, should have been good enough to stop a third string rookie quarterback who in victory set records for futility when it came to how many times he was sacked and how few net passing yards he threw. I was shocked at that game. And maybe, like you say, in a way, that's going to help get a head start on the offseason. And I do believe that athletes individually and teams collectively, after a run of seasons, years, individual performances, etc., eventually they just hit a wall. And it's physical, it's emotional, it's mental. And I think the Christmas Day game in Chicago was a massive wall that the Lions hit. And, on one hand, having participated with the team when I was working for the Lions in some Christmas Day games, road games, I thought, after the Steelers game, I thought it was a good thing almost. Not that you're away from your family, but that you just got each other, and you're not going to have to be in the middle of the media firestorm and the fan firestorm after that Steelers loss. You just get away. You got each other. You still got a shot. You had to believe that Baltimore was going to give the Packers a battle, which they absolutely did, and more. So you still had a shot, but I can't think of any part of that game where I felt confident, after the first quarter or so.
No, yeah. I mean, you also have to give some credit to the Vikings, even if they struggled offensively. Brian Flores obviously came out with a great game plan, and that defense executed it to perfection. So you got to tip their cap there. But yeah, I 100% also agree with the whole, comment you made about hitting the wall after such a deep playoff run 2 years ago, losing the NFC Championship game in a heartbreaking fashion, then going 15-2 in the regular season last year, and then, having kind of a really shocking exit from the playoffs and a team that was over. I think I feel like there kind of is that mental and emotional toll that's kind of built up and fatigued the team a little bit. And then, like you said, sometimes the road games are really helpful because it's all you have. But I think maybe on especially a holiday game like this, where it was on Christmas Day, physically kind of being away from the family, I think it was just kind of hard for this team to really get up and get in that mental state that you need to play such a violent, aggressive, barbaric game that football is. So I think it was honestly just kind of it was a perfect storm of bad factors hurting the Lions that ultimately led them losing a game against a guy like Max Brosmer, who, no offense to him, but his first start, his only other start before this, he threw 4 interceptions, right? And instead, they were able to hang on for a kind of ugly win. So, yeah, just a lot of bad factors all around, but it's still, they have one game left. Hopefully they can get a bit of a moral victory and end the season on a high note.
And move on for sure. Well, we're going to move on to a commercial break here, and when we return, we'll give you an update on the games in progress, the finals from earlier today. You are listening to Gridiron Rap on 760 WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
I'm Kevin Dietz with All Talk. Happy New Year. Thanks for being part of our year. We're grateful for you and excited for what's ahead. Here's to a strong, hopeful, and meaningful 2026. All Talk is 9 to noon, and you can stream us anytime at WJR.com.
The Cardinal Golf Course at St. John's Resort is excited to unveil the 2026 Cardinal Club Membership Program. As a Cardinal Club member, you'll enjoy unlimited play, advanced booking, member-only tee times, and special discounts throughout the resort. New to 2026, the Junior Executive Club, for those 40 and under looking for a premier golf experience. Visit thecardinalgolf.com for full information and to get ready to swing into 2026 at the Cardinal at St. John's Resort.
Football season is heating up on Prize Picks. Now, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So keep the season rolling by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Plus, the app for Prize Picks is really simple to use. Just pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projections, and if you're right, you could win big. Prize Picks is also available in 40-plus states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Most importantly, they don't play about your money. All transactions on the app are fast, safe, and secure. Don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Download the Prize Picks app today, use code SUNDAY, and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code SUNDAY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups just for playing, guaranteed. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
You're listening to Gridiron Rap on WJR. Sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenest and Alex Zilkowski.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gridiron Rap. And like we mentioned before the break, we're going to give you an update on the games in progress, one of which is a huge game and a bit of a shocker so far. The Philadelphia Eagles have gone into Orchard Park, the home of the Buffalo Bills, and are shutting out the Bills right now, 13-0. It's been raining significantly since the start of the game, but the temperature, it's the crazy weather we're all experiencing now. I think was scheduled to go up during the game.
Yeah.
So no worry about snow or ice or anything. But I've been really impressed what I've seen of that game, watching the Eagles, especially their defense.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. There's under 9 minutes to go in the third, and Buffalo is trailing at home 13-0 against the Eagles.
And potentially the last game at Highmark Stadium as well.
Yeah, that's a
if
great
they don't win
point.
the division. They're in the rain. They're a great rushing team, but yeah, this could be the last game at the Ralph before they move into the new one next year. So kind of hope they pull it out just for that.
Yeah,
aspect,
I mean, they'll be if it continues, the sky would have been raining all game, but there'll be a lot of fans with rain and tears at the end of that game, because that place has been so memorable over the years. And those fans have been, when you consider, what they've gone through as a franchise, small market, horrific weather. I mean, the stories about them making an all call to the people of the area to come in and shovel the snow off the bleachers so we can even play. And one of my dear friends in the business, Scott Birch, told my counterpart for the Bills, all the years that we worked together, talking about taking, bobsleds and snowmobiles, not bobsleds, snowmobiles to work. And heck, one time they had to play a game at Ford Field because of the weather. But they have endured so much. And so, yeah, it really would hurt your heart for the last game to be this type of game. But the Bills have come back a lot this year, as we've seen. Going back to that opening game, actually, that was the Ravens. Who came back in that game? I'm trying to remember.
The Bills. Yeah,
the Bills did.
The
Ravens had the big lead. Yeah.
Yeah, just like when they played Lions.
Yeah, amazing. Another late window game. It's a bowl game, I guess you could call it, for the number one pick, maybe. And the Giants are playing inspired football and lead the Raiders in Las Vegas 27-10. The Giants just had a 95-yard punt return for a touchdown after Geno Smith and the Raiders cut it to 20-10. So, I've seen a few highlights from the game, and you hear the cynics often talk about meaningless games. You watch the sideline of a team like the Giants today, you'd think they're playing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's just the beauty of football, the competitive spirit. And they're a good example of a team that took a cross-country trip practically, but it's only them. They got each other. And so far they're playing well.
Yeah, and I mean, their defensive line is playing well. And one of the things that interests me about this game is you talked about House for the one pick, but honestly, depending on what team gets the one pick, that also changes the draft a lot, right? Because the Giants, they just took Dart in the first round last year. And then you look at some of the really good prospects in the draft. A lot of the other number one pick caliber players really are defensive ends. And this Giants defensive line does not need any more players. It is honestly one of the best in the NFL. So you have to imagine if somehow the Raiders, come back from this 17-point deficit in the next 12 minutes here. If the Giants were to get the one pick, they're probably going to trade down and, shake up the draft a lot in that regard, where the Raiders are probably just going to, sit and pick and probably move on from Geno.
I think that's a good observation. And I think in some respects, because of that, because the Giants apparently have their quarterback for the future, they could even trade the second pick.
Yeah, completely.
They could load up. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But certainly, as you said, if the Giants do end up with the number one pick, they'll probably take the best offer. Maybe in fact from the Raiders.
Yeah,
since it appears there could be a lot of changes in Las Vegas after this season. Shockingly to me, at least, I thought Pete Carroll was an ideal
Same
coach
here,
for them with what he brought to the table. But they've had a very, very disappointing year. Some other games from earlier today. Boy, the Patriots are impressive. A road game, 42-10 over the Jets. And they are solidifying their position for the playoffs. Drake May, I think, had 5 touchdown passes
he
today.
Did. Yeah, he went 19 for 21.
Think of that.
256 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's crazy. And good for him. And another team, they're not going to hit the playoffs, but I'm telling you, I've been singing Kellen Moore's praises all year, and I'll sing them again, even though it's against the Titans. It was a road game, and the Titans were up early, but the Saints came back and pulled out a 34-26 victory. I think it's their 4th in a row.
It is, yes.
Yeah, and there's probably 3 or 4 teams right now that are feeling great about themselves, and I guarantee you the Saints are one of them, because from where they started to where they are and to where they will believe they are going, good for them. And kudos to Kellen Moore and the young quarterback.
Shucks looked great.
He had his best game as a pro. So, and they've done this offensively, at least primarily without Kamara this year. So good for Kellen Moore, good for the Saints, and a big win on the road. Another big road win for the absolutely for real Jacksonville Jaguars, 23-17 over the Old Man Rivers Colts in Indy. Close game, went down to the last few minutes. Jaguars with a 23-17 win, and what a job Liam Cohen has done as the head coach there. Even though I still don't understand what Duval means. Maybe you do.
It's the county Jacksonville's in, so it's their war cry.
Yeah, but wow, good for Jacksonville, good for the Colts, and
Jacksonville's also turned it around, without having Travis Hunter most of the season, the number 2 pick in the draft, who they sold out for. So I got shows how much the coaching matters and how good of a job Cohen's done. So he definitely should be in Coach of the Year contention. I think it's going to go to Vrabel, but I think if I had to vote, I'd vote for Cohen personally.
I think that's a great point. I mean, the one thing that you hear that goes against the season that the Patriots have had is I think they've had the easiest statistically schedule in the league. The aggregate winning percentage of their opponents is the worst in the league, but still you have to win the game. And he's done a wonderful job. But I think Liam Cohen, I don't think anybody would argue that against that selection for Coach of the Year, because no one expected this type of season from the Jaguars. You talk about the day-to-day, week-to-week reality of the NFL. The once left-for-dead Dolphins win another game, 4th or 5th in a row, I think. Yeah. And they beat the Buccaneers, who are in a playoff battle, a battle for their lives. But, the Dolphins win 20-17. So we'll go over some more scores from earlier today when we come back after a break. You are listening to Gridiron Rap on WJR 760, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Slip and fall accidents can happen anywhere, especially in winter with ice and snow. When a business does nothing to protect its customers from danger and someone gets hurt, then it becomes our business. Michigan Slip and Fall Lawyers is Michigan's only law firm specializing in slip and fall cases. With millions recovered in compensation for our clients, we're here to protect you all year round. Go to falllaw.com now for your free consultation. That's falllaw.com.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One. NFL Week 17 includes a special Saturday holiday doubleheader. Up first, the Houston Texans on a 7-game win streak travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers, who've won 4 in a row. And in the second game, the Green Bay Packers play host to the Baltimore Ravens at historic Lambeau Field. Don't miss any of the action on this week's Saturday NFL doubleheader.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely.
Face tattoo?
Absolutely not.
Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
What would you do with 3 extra weeks this year? Get 50% off your first 6 months of Gusto payroll and get that time back. Gusto saves you 2 days every month on payroll, taxes, and compliance. You can go from payroll runs to donut runs, crunching numbers to crushing goals, admin to adventure. Switching now means no need to transfer your payroll history either. Choose a future with Gusto and get more time for what matters. For a limited time, get 50% off your first 6 months at gusto.com/radio. That's gusto.com/radio.
Warmest wishes for a joyous holiday season and a Happy New Year to you. Enjoy your quality time with family and loved ones from your friends at 760 WJR and Michigan Auto Law, auto accident attorneys.
It's Blaine with Lighthouse Exteriors and Martino. So let's say I get a quote from you this week. How long is that quote good for?
We have pricing that is good for a year, good for 30 days, and then also just like that Black Friday, we have specials that are good for 24 hours. And it all depends on if you want to take advantage of it or not.
Okay, so if I get a quote from you and it's during a Black Friday sale, that one's good for that day?
It is. Just like Black Friday, you can't come back on the following Tuesday and say, I want that same deal for that TV.
Right.
It goes with our efficiency model. We want to be the most efficient that we can possible. So we have to go back multiple times. That's not very efficient. So we offer the best deal so we can be efficient.
Get your best deal. Save 15% if you mention me, Blaine from Blaine and Lauren. 248-900-2212 for Lighthouse Exteriors. That's 248-900-2212 or lighthouseexteriors.com.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR. Sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenest and Alex Zilkowski.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gridiron Wrap. And just to finish our update of the earlier games, the Seattle Seahawks went into Carolina. Big game for the Panthers, obviously, as they're trying to make the playoffs, if not win a division. And Seattle's defense really showed up big today. Mm-hmm. They helped Bryce Young, the quarterback for the Panthers, to 54 yards passing.
Yeah, not great.
They really dominated the game. Seattle won 27-10, and they have they're in the driver's seat certainly for the West Division title and the NFC. And a game that I worked, Cincinnati and Joe Burrow pounded the Cardinals 37-14. And I tell you what, if the Bengals had Joe Burrow hooking up with Jamar Chase and the tight ends and the other receivers all year, the Bengals would be fighting, if not in a playoff spot already, because Burrow looked tremendous today. One neat note to add from that game, and you and I have talked about the emergence and the impact of the tight end position this year, and the Trey McBride, the tight end for the Cardinals, set an all-time NFL record. He had 10 catches this year, gives him 119 on the season, breaks the record by Zach Ertz from a few years ago. Also broke a Cardinals team record of just receptions. DeAndre Hopkins had that. So it's rare. He may be the only tight end that holds the team record for most receptions. And one thing that I think is pretty neat, because you always have critics, it seems these days, he did it in 16 games. So no one's going to say it was tarnished because he had to wait till next week and do it. So good for him. Good for him. And then I suppose we should just mention, if nothing else, some of the earlier in the week 17 scores. The Cowboys went to Washington, beat the Commanders 30-23. One of the all-time great rivals between Washington and Dallas over the years. And very disappointing from the season from the Commanders. I mean, I remember walking out of the playoff game last year at Ford Field when they pretty much dominated the Lions, and I'm like, this team is going to be good for quite a while. But injuries to the quarterback and others, it's the year-to-year nature of the NFL, Alex.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, one of the big driving forces between the Commanders' success last year was just, if you remember, how ridiculously efficient they were on fourth down, right? They were Dan Campbell level aggressive on fourth down, and they just seemed to always get. I think I was saying in like the 70 or 80%, how often they actually converted. So there's due to be some regression, but then Jane Daniels getting injured throughout the year. They got the 2 pick without him for a reason, and then made the playoffs with him. So he's a special talent. Losing him hurt, and they just have some kind of holes in the roster they need to patch. But they're going to be a team to watch out for next year because they're going to get one of the easier schedule draws since they're finishing third in the division. And with Daniels another year older and hopefully gets healthier over the offseason, watch out again for them.
Yeah, and speaking of schedule draws, the Lions have a better than even shot of getting the fifth. We used to call it the fifth place schedule back in the days when the Lions were in the NFC Central and we had 5 teams, and there was a distinct advantage to having the fifth place schedule back in the day. Now every division has 4 teams. You're getting the last place schedule, and there's still an advantage. It's part of the, level the playing field approach by the NFL that's not only applicable to the draft system, but also to scheduling. So that could be interesting.
I didn't realize the Lions were in contention for that, the last place one, but that'll be huge for them next year, especially because the stars are still there, right? But easier draw will help a lot.
I don't want to necessarily admit it, but back in the 90s when we were making the playoffs, in 1990 we finished 5th. 91 we won the division. 92 we finished 5th. 93 we won the division. So there was definitely some benefit back in the day. And the Broncos on Christmas beat the Chiefs, a great rivalry going back to the AFL days. And the Chiefs were playing inspired football. I thought they really were. Arrowhead was packed. It was a great scene and sad in a way because there was the reports last week, although not 100%, that Kansas City may be moving to Kansas to build the new stadium, which all that's still yet to be finalized, but still. Pretty amazing that could happen. And then yesterday, 2 very important and critical games as far as NFL playoff implications go. The Texans go into LA and beat the Chargers. They are rolling.
They're red hot.
I mean, the talk now is who wouldn't you want to play in the playoffs? Well, I can't imagine anybody wanting to play the Texans right now.
No.
With that defense and the offense is looking good. Stroud looks like he did a couple years ago to me. So they pull off a hugely important win, 20-16. And then, a 5-pound bag of salt in Lambeau last night was poured into all the Lion fans wounds from Christmas Day when the Ravens go to Lambeau and beat the Packers, which was one of those contingencies that had the Lions beat the Vikings, was needed to happen to give the Lions a chance going into the final weekend of the season, but all for naught. But boy, the Ravens look strong. And when you have a running game like that, oh my goodness, over 200 yards rushing, I think, by Henry,
36 carries. Like, you do not want to be if you're in the A gap and see Derrick Henry coming down with a lot of steam at you. I'm stepping to the side personally, because I do not want to be tasked with tackling him. And I mean, we talk about it all the time. What run game and defense both travel, especially in these cold weather games. And I mean, the Ravens are consistently one of the best, if not the best, rushing offense in the NFL. And that's why you build your team around running the ball for nights like last night. And then next week they're gonna have a cold outdoor game, probably in Sunday Night Football, realistically, with a shot to get in the playoffs. And so it all comes back to what it's been.
Yeah, I didn't realize until they talked about it toward the end of the broadcast that he had 36 carries. And, what that immediately took me back to is, I'm sure you can understand. And as I am watching the Bills just get stopped on a 4th and goal. I mean, inches short of the goal line. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he was stopped. He was stopped short.
Yeah, Josh stretches his arm. He was falling backwards, but if he's able to stretch his arm out, that would have probably been a touchdown.
But as I was saying, the last time I remember a running back having that many carries was when I was with the Washington Redskins and we played in the Super Bowl against Miami, and John Riggins was the MVP and the PA announcer for the Rose Bowl had the voice of God. And I mean, it reverberated through the hills, and the most picturesque setting for a football game that I could ever imagine. I mean, there's obviously a reason why it's the granddaddy of them all, but it's just magnificent. It's heaven on earth. It's football heaven. But that PA announcer, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because it was John Riggins, the ball carrier. And John Riggins, the ball carrier. And he carried it, Super Bowl record, 36 times.
Oh, wow.
So, that brought me back to that. The Packers are, they're in an interesting situation right now with their quarterback reality. And although I don't think that's why they lost the game last night. I think it was clearly the defense, but I don't know who was going to stop that rushing game last night, honestly.
Yeah, Willis played great. I mean, to give him credit, he went 18 for 21 with 288 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Then he was also their leading rusher, running 9 times for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I know backup quarterbacks are becoming more and more valuable in this league as time goes on, but depending on what Willis's contract looks like, he might be a prime trade candidate because depending on how many first round graded quarterbacks are in this draft, I wonder if some teams might try to put together a package of a few later round picks, maybe a 2nd and 4th and 5th or something like that to try to get Malik Willis, because ever since he's gone to Green Bay, LaFleur has really coached him up, and he's starting to look like a starter caliber quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was a high pick. He had, but there was a lot of skepticism.
Yeah, he was a raw high pick.
He a lot of skepticism, and he certainly didn't show anything. He was with the Titans, I believe, and he's like a different player since he's gotten to Green Bay. So we'll see on that. And we're going to head off to another break. And the Bills have the ball back, still trailing 13-0 against the Eagles. You are listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR 760, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
You drive past them every day. The historic buildings, the monuments, the landmarks. But do you know the secrets they hold? Every iconic corner of our city has an untold story. From the surprising history of the Detroit salt mines to the legends who rocked the Grandie Ballroom and the true legacy of the Joe Louis Fist. It's time to look closer. Join historian Dr. Robert Livernoy as he uncovers the fascinating truths lying just beneath the surface on the Hidden in Plain Sight podcast. Find Hidden in Plain Sight with Dr. Robert Livernoy at thegreatvoice.com.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
Whether you're freelancing, growing your startup, or managing your first team, Pillar is business banking that fits your world. Open deposit accounts, send invoices, manage roles, and access lending all in one secure digital platform. Backed by MSU Federal Credit Union and federally insured by the NCUA, Pillar blends cutting-edge technology with real human support. Start banking for the future today at PILLUR.org.
Hey, Chris Renwick here. Back in October, I was able to go on an amazing trip to Italy with my friends at Conservative Tours and some wonderful WJR listeners. And I have some exciting news to share. We're going on another bucket list trip to the enchanting Germany, Austria, and Prague in May. Fairy tale castles like Mad King Ludwig's Neuschwanstein, Bavarian picturesque villages at the foot of the Alps, and we'll even visit Germany's most beautiful city, medieval Munich, and the world-famous Hofbräuhaus, Mozart, Salzburg in Austria, and magical Prague. And here's the best part. The cost to you, $55.69, and that includes your airfare. So go to conservativetours.com today. That's conservativetours.com. And from this region of high culture and art and industrial genius also sprang one of history's darkest chapters, the rise of Adolf Hitler's Third Reich. We'll retrace the rise of the Nazi Party from the beer hall putsch to the pageantry at Nuremberg and take a sobering visit to Dachau concentration camp and all the grand edifices built by Hitler in historic Nuremberg. And we'll even visit the Eagle's Nest. So grab your lederhosen and I will see you by the Glockenspiel.
Wishing you a wonderful holiday season filled with joy and laughter. May your new year bring happiness and success. Cherish every moment with family and friends. From your friends at 760 WJR and Michigan Auto Law, auto accident attorneys.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR, sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenest and Alex Zilkowski.
Welcome back to Gridiron Wrap. And I didn't think it would take us this long to focus on the big news out of Ann Arbor and really in college football this week. And that is the hiring of Kyle Whittingham to take over the Block M football program. And Alex, no one knows more about that program than you do. So what are your thoughts on the hiring of a new coach, Coach Whittingham?
Yeah, I'm happy about the hire. Whittingham has been one of the best coaches in college football for years now. You don't stay at one school for 21 years, due to a fluke or a lucky season or anything like that. So clearly a great program builder, which seems like Michigan kind of needs, because the last few years it appears, more info's come out. It's kind of been a sloppily run program, even outside of the off the field drama, just kind of some of the way the practices were structured and some of the meetings. So really helpful. By all accounts, Kyle Whittingham's a great guy, but he has a great eye for talent. He's a great developer. And I think, if he can retain this current Michigan roster and recruiting class, which it seems like, from a lot of the interviews and stuff, it seems like a lot of these players and recruits, they want to be at Michigan. They want to stay there. I think Michigan could legitimately be entering a national championship window in 2027 because Kyle Whittingham always puts out tough physical teams. Last year, Utah was number 2 in the country in running the ball, and also, had an offense that I think Bryce Underwood would be able to be good at. The early rumblings from his coaching staff that he's assembling seem really good. I mean, BYU is a program that was knocking the door of the playoffs, and it seems like their defensive coordinator is going to come take the job at Michigan. He's bringing his offensive coordinator with him from Utah, who did very well last year. So I'm very happy. I mean, there are obviously some, pros and cons with each hire from the outside. It's going to be interesting to see how, Whittingham kind of navigates it. One of the biggest ones is going to be obviously the fact that he's a West Coast guy. He was born and raised in California, and then he's lived in Utah for over 30 years now. He's been at the University of Utah for, I believe, 32 seasons before this year. So you're going to see how he handles that moving to the Midwest, and what coaches he maybe retains due to their ties and experience in the Midwest, because if it's not a wise thing to do to try to build your program with recruits from out of region. That's what Lincoln Riley tried his first few years at USC, and then this year he's switched to focusing on Southern California again, and would you look at that? USC is the number one recruiting class in the country this year. And then obviously things so recruiting and then the age, it's going to be interesting to see. He does seem like he has some juice left in him. And is he going to be here for, 4 or 5 years and be a bit of a bridge coach, or does he, have a 10-year run on him? So overall, I'm really happy with the hire, and I think it's going to be a pretty good era of Michigan football. I don't know. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, I love the hire. I love it because he has been successful. He's won at a place that, they had success there with Urban Meyer, but winning is one thing, sustaining it is another.
Yeah.
And he more than sustained that level of success. And he did it without the resources that Michigan has.
Yeah.
He did it without the resources that some of the teams he was competing against in the conference have had and has. And I think the concern about him being more of a Western guy than a Midwestern guy, once you get inside that locker room, once you get inside that huddle, once you get inside the team meeting room, all those boundaries sort of evaporate.
Oh yeah.
And it's football. Now, he's not the type of guy, and I'm going to use this as an example, and it might not be the best one, but when Michigan hired Rich Rod, he brought in a wild, philosophy for that time, time, wide open, all this and that. Whittingham, you could say, was more of a Midwestern philosophy coaching out West than he was an out West philosophy that's coming to the Midwest. So I think that will play very well. And he seems like the kind of guy that's beloved by his players. I think that has to resonate, has to be a solid guy. And I'll say this, I don't know, I hope personally that he can bring his defensive tackle coach with him to Michigan. Luther Ellis, who used to play for the Lions. And the type of human being that Luther is speaks volumes about who he's going to associate with. So there's no doubt in my mind that Kyle is the kind of guy, both as a human being, as a man, and as a football coach, that will resonate both with the fan base, with the players, with the community, and with people in the state of Michigan. I mean, you saw that picture of him riding on a Harley. He loves to golf, loves to ski. So maybe we'll get him up to the UP. You have some family up there skiing this week.
Yeah, getting a lot of snow up there. One other thing about Whittingham as well that I really like and shows how good of a coach he is when you look at it, he oversaw Utah's move from the Mountain West to the Pac-12, which is a big step up in competition, and they didn't miss a beat at all. So I mean, again, he just wins, right? Similar to Kurt Cignetti in a way. And I think it'll be a good hire, and I think Michigan's in very good hands with Whittingham.
That's a great comparison with Kurt Cignetti in a lot of ways. But one, Kurt was around football his whole life. His dad
Mm-hmm.
was a very successful. The same with Kyle. His
Mm-hmm.
dad was a coach.
Yeah.
And they even coached together. And whether our beloved, Mason and Blue fans want to admit it, one of his mentors in the business is Urban Meyer. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't find more successful. I mean, he's in that upper echelon, with the Nick Sabans of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta realize that. And so Kyle Whittingham has a lot going for him that's become a part of him that will undoubtedly resonate in Ann Arbor and beyond. And I think, we talked about it with respect to the Michigan State program, a month or two ago. You're not buying stock in that program, when they went through what they were going through. And then, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, Michigan was in the same way. And the stock price for Michigan State was climbing. And now you've got two programs that really suffered, and we're at the bottom of that proverbial mountain for a week or two. And now they're all the way, climbing. And I think if you look at all the hires this offseason in big time college football, it would be hard to find two better hires than Pat Fitzgerald and Kyle Whittingham. So I think the beneficiary of that are the fans of our state, the fans of Michigan State, the fans of Michigan. So, it's awesome, from that regard, it's awesome.
They both have some very similar kind of program and culture and stuff. So the Michigan State game for, the next few years is probably going to become a really good one again, because it's, it's hit a little bit of a lull in recent years here. So, if it gets back to being a really good, heated rivalry on the field, that will be great for, all fans involved.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And it's not a great rivalry unless you have that. We always say that. It's true.
Yeah.
It's a great rivalry when you have the highest level of competition. And I think all of us would be absolutely shocked if we didn't see that moving forward with Michigan State and with Michigan. And like we said, from where both programs were recently to be where we are now is shocking, if not surprising, but profoundly encouraging. And it also speaks to the reality of an institution like Michigan, that Kyle Whittingham wanted that job and was thrilled with the opportunity. As he said, it's one of the top 5 places in the country. I heard him on his press conference today, and to have a coach like that speaks volumes about the opportunity, the history of the program, and where it's heading, no doubt.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it was a really good hire. And I think, we have a really exciting era of Michigan football ahead of us, and hopefully national championship window opening up as well with this new coaching staff in place.
Yeah, no question. The Eagles still lead the Bills 13-0. The Giants Raiders game is final. The Giants with a big win. And we'll update you more and talk about the big game tonight as well, involving the Bears and the 49ers on Gridiron Wrap. You're listening to WJR 760, the great voice for the Great Lakes.
At Average Al's Furniture Warehouse, our sofas have cushions, our tables have 4 legs, our recliners recline. So come on by for a perfectly average experience.
Cumulus Digital doesn't stop at average. We work with more than 4,000 local businesses every month, delivering campaigns that beat industry averages by over 25%, driving real, measurable growth. You're not average. Your results shouldn't be either. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Looking for a way to accelerate your career? Find more at WCCCD. More in-demand programs, more world-class facilities, more services and support, more experienced faculty and real-world skills, and more career resources to connect you with the right job for you. And it's all available right now. So why wait? Register today and find more for your success at wcccd.edu.
Help save a piece of Detroit history. The nearly 100-year-old Senate Theater, home to the mighty Wurlitzer, faces closure without urgent repairs. They need $150,000 now to preserve this landmark for the next generation. Donate today at senatetheater.com.
Family Matters amplifies the loudest and the proudest political voices in the Black community today.
What's up, guys? I'm CJ Pearson. There's so many incredible perspectives here in the Black community that you're going to hear from each and every week. This is exactly what the mainstream media was missing.
Because faith matters, country matters, and family matters.
And actually talk to the people at the forefront of this change in the community. And by the way, it's no small number. It's growing every single day. That's why this moment matters.
Family Matters with CJ Pearson. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
This is the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR, Detroit, a Cumulus media station.
This is a Fox News alert. Close to a peace deal. I'm Carmen Roberts.
Our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war.
President Trump speaking alongside Ukrainian President Zelensky after the two leaders wrapped up negotiations on the U.S.-led peace plan, speaking at Mar-a-Lago.
President Trump did say there are some issues, but he believes they will get resolved.
We could be very close. There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues.
President Trump, before this meeting, said that he did speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he says that the phone call they had was good and very productive, and he insists that Putin, too, wants peace.
Fox Madison's Scarpino reporting from West Palm Beach, Florida. President Trump will host another world leader tomorrow. He and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu will discuss the next stages of that fragile Gaza ceasefire. And they are likely to also talk about Iran's statement that it is at war with the West. For Congress, the holiday season is coming to an end as House and Senate members are set to return to work in January. Fox's Chad Pergram has more on the potential government shutdown and disagreements.
Lawmakers left Washington without fixing skyrocketing costs for some healthcare premiums as Obamacare subsidies expire. But some lawmakers believe Congress can address healthcare in 2026. It's an election year, and that could compel action. Democrats withheld their votes for government funding unless Congress renewed expiring tax credits. And Democrats aren't certain if they'll run the same political play on healthcare as a January 30th spending deadline looms.
And two helicopters collided midair today over southern New Jersey, killing one pilot and critically injuring the other. I'm Eric's listening to Fox News.
You never know who might be taking the quiz.
Hi, I'm Teresa Giudice.
I'm Clay Aiken.
I am Dre DeMatteo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Whelan.
Hey, everybody. It's Billy Baldwin.
It's Patricia Heaton.
Hey, everyone. I'm Nicole Palizzi. It's Candace Bushnell.
Hey, everyone. It's Henry Golding.
Hey, everybody. It's Kevin Nealon.
I'm Ted Lange, and it's time to take the quiz.
5 questions in less than 5 minutes every day. Listen and follow at thequiz.fox.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
The Trump administration continues to increase incentives for illegal immigrants to voluntarily self-deport.
The Trump administration wants to help migrants reunite with their families. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announcing her department is tripling the incentive for illegal aliens to leave voluntarily before the end of the year.
We'll buy you a ticket, give you $3,000 to go home, and that includes people that have not been detained, maybe have interacted with us, are detained and don't have criminal charges against them.
The holiday incentive comes as the Trump administration increasingly cracks down on those who enter the country illegally and programs allowing people to come to the U.S. legally. After 2 National Guard soldiers were shot in Washington, D.C. by an Afghan national, the White House suspended all active asylum claims.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff reporting. The American Immigration Lawyers Association says no one should accept the offer without first obtaining good legal advice. French 1960s sex symbol and movie star Brigitte Bardot died today. She became an international celebrity as a sexualized teen bride in the 1956 movie And God Created Woman.
I have to live as if every day were my last one. Something powerful in me that makes me behave foolishly.
And Bardot became later an animal rights activist. She was 91. Lou Gerstner, the former CEO of IBM, who led the company through one of the most consequential turnarounds in corporate history, has died. And he ran IBM from 1993 to 2002. And instead of breaking it up, he successfully took it through a painful restructuring. Gerstner, a native of New York's Long Island, was 83 years old. I'm Carmen Roberts, and this is Fox News.
WJR traffic and weather first.
Standing water is definitely a problem. We're picking up more crashes as the rain continues to fall. Getting reports of flooding in many areas, including northbound 75 just after Grange Call. That's actually where an accident is at. It's off to the left shoulder there, dealing with more flooding on 696 westbound, right around the Mound area, and a big crash in that spot, taking away the left center lane, and the center lane also partially blocking the left shoulder. Just take your time. Use caution. I'm Erin B. WJR. Traffic and weather first.
Rain for us here, maybe some snow later, maybe some thunder. We'll also work in a little fog, drop it back to the mid-20s. Winds may go to 45 miles per hour. For now, we'll see a high wind watch. Monday, snow showers, temperatures fall to the mid-20s, and winds may go to 55 miles per hour. We drop back to the low 20s for Monday night. From the Weather Channel, I'm Jeff Eno on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
The National Weather Service has issued a high wind warning in effect until 4 a.m. Monday morning for Wayne, Washtenaw, Oakland, Livingston, Macomb, St. Clair, Monroe, and Lenawee counties. Stay tuned to WJR for more updates.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
At Average Amy's Coffee Corner, our coffee has caffeine, our muffins are cooked, and our services, well, we're here. Come on by for an average cup of joe.
Average doesn't build great businesses. Cumulus Digital does, outperforming industry benchmarks by more than 25%. We deliver smarter digital marketing to over 4,000 local businesses every month and drive real, measurable growth. You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com. You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR. Sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenest and Alex Zilkowski.
You know, Alex, I was going to ask you, I'm sure you're familiar with the saying, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and someone once told me that had to do with Christmas and the holidays. And I think it has to do with football.
I would agree.
When you look at the last couple weeks, this week, and a game like is going on right now in Buffalo, the Bills scored to make it 13-6. And I wrote down on my notes 13-6, and it was before the PAT, so I scratched out the 6 and wrote 7. Guess what?
The year of the blocked kick continues.
The blocked PAT. How about that? And it's a touchdown lead by the Eagles, and a deflating, missed PAT by the Bills. Still plenty of time left, and 5 minutes and 11 seconds left. But it's the little things that cause us to love this game. So the Eagles, now have the ball, and there was just a stat up on the game. Jalen Hurts doesn't have any completions in the second half. So I don't know if it's the weather or I misread the graphic maybe, but I think that's what I just saw. So, Saquon Barkley just got thrown for a 4-yard loss. So Bills defense is definitely fired up, and any residue from that block PAT didn't show itself on that play. But, one thing I'd like to do before we get back into the NFL talk, our producer extraordinaire, Danny Cahalan, put together some great notes on, like I said, the most wonderful time of the year. Wednesday night, the playoffs continue. Number 10 Miami at number 2 Ohio State in the good old Cotton Bowl that I remember being a game that was one of the 4 bowl games, back in the day. Always played on New Year's Day, And what are your thoughts about that? I mean, Miami, probably had its best defensive game of the year in the first round matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's defense played great. And also, real quick, before I get too much into this game's analysis, this shows the attention to detail that Ohio State's program really had, because in the playoffs, you get to choose your bowls, right? Descending by rank. And so they chose the Cotton Bowl because one of their main options would have been the Orange Bowl. And they, were looking ahead and thinking, they probably were expecting Miami to win that game over A&M. So really good job picking that. But yeah, I think this is a game that certainly favors Ohio State. I mean, you're most likely not going to get 2 defensive performances like that in a row for any program. And also this Ohio State offense, they're going to come out, fired up, because they did not have a great showing the last time they played against that Indiana team. So I think, this Ohio State offensive line is going to be tested. Reuben Bain and Justin Scott are both playing great right now. But I ultimately think this Ohio State team has too many weapons on offense. And then Ohio State's defense under Patricia, they've just been lights out all year, right?
Yeah.
No one's really figured out how to attack them effectively at all. So I personally think the Buckeyes are going to win this game, though. What about you?
Well, I do too. I agree. And I pin it primarily on the defense. Matt Patricia has, if there's a assistant coach of the year or coordinator of the year in college football, I don't know who else it could be other than him, what he's did with that defense. The other interesting thing I'd just like to, offer it as consideration. I've talked about this over the years, the importance of a level playing field. And, why is the Super Bowl always played in pristine conditions? And I'm going to sound maybe a little contradictory here, because obviously Super Bowls are played in Miami, but you always have the threat of weather, rain, in an open air stadium, like in Miami, like you would. So I just, the Miami Ohio State game, the Cotton Bowl's played at Jerry World, so it's going to be perfect conditions. And with those receivers that Ohio State has, with those running backs, with the speed they have on defense and offense, I think as much as the great point you made about not wanting to play at the home of a potential, opponent, I think having pristine conditions where you don't have to worry about wind or rain or whatever could have also played a part in their choice. Speaking of the Orange Bowl and the game in Miami, it's Oregon and Texas Tech. Boy, I don't know how to pick this one. I mean, Oregon's rated number 5. Texas Tech is number 4. the Capital One Orange Bowl. I'm not sure which way to go with that one.
Yeah, this one is really close in my eyes. I mean, Texas Tech's defense is the only one in college football that rivals Ohio State. Actually, I'll throw Georgia in there as well, who's also, has a game this round. But I personally think Oregon, just because Texas Tech's offense has really struggled at times. They're not fantastic at running the ball. And sometimes both their quarterbacks can be a little turnover prone, where Oregon's defense is still good. Dan Lanning's a great defensive coach, has been, he's worked under Saban, Smart, and then these Oregon defenses have always been good. So I personally would lean Oregon in this. Just for that reason alone, where I think the Oregon defense versus the Texas offense favors Oregon more. But I mean, Dante Moore, he might be a first round pick, but he can really cement his status if he plays well, because this Texas Tech defense hasn't given anyone any easy times all year.
No, I agree. I think that's a good observation. One personal note, a memory about the Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl was the first big bowl game that I can remember watching as an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old kid. And it was back in, actually I was 11. It was back in 69 when Penn State played Kansas in the Orange Bowl. And I was allowed to stay up to watch it because we had school the next day. My dad let me stay up. And I remember a couple things from that game. Kansas had a running back that I would eventually work with in Washington by the name of John Riggins. And he did score a touchdown for the Jayhawks in that game. But it was a very close, defensive battle. Kansas was winning 14-7 until they had to punt late in the game. The punt was deflected. It wasn't blocked, but Penn State had good field position, hardly any time left. And the quarterback, I think it was Chuck Burkhart, was a quarterback, threw a long pass to a running back, Bob Campbell, completed it like inside the 5, maybe at the 3 or 4 yard line. Penn State got stopped on first down, stopped on second down. I believe they scored on third down. And I think the quarterback may have run it in, actually. I'm not sure. So it's 14-13, and Paterno is going to go for the win. He's not going for the tie, right? So I forget what play they called on the PAT, but it's incomplete. They don't make it, or the run gets stuffed.
Yeah.
So from that moment, the instant that happened, I'm like, my home state school, Penn State, isn't going to win. But then you see a penalty flag. And the official comes over and announces that Kansas had too many men on the field.
Wow.
Okay, so Penn State gets half the distance to the goal. They get another play, and they score, and they win 15-14. And the interesting thing I remember vividly, Sports Illustrated, which was the gold standard of all publications back then, had this massive, expose on the game. It was a huge game. And Kansas actually had 12 men on the field for every play after that long pass. So for first down, second down, third down's a touchdown. They had 12 men on the field for each of those plays. They had 12 men on the field for the failed PAT, but the official finally caught it, threw the flag. Penn State wins on the extra down. So, just great memories. We'll talk a little more about some bowl games when we come back after this break on Gridiron Wrap. You're listening to 760 WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Hi, everybody. This is Mitch Albom, and I want to wish you and yours the happiest and healthiest new year. Let's have a great 2026 together.
The Cardinal Golf Course at St. John's Resort is excited to unveil the 2026 Cardinal Club Membership Program. As a Cardinal Club member, you'll enjoy unlimited play, advanced booking, member-only tee times, and special discounts throughout the resort. New to 2026, the Junior Executive Club, for those 40 and under looking for a premier golf experience. Visit thecardinalgolf.com for full information and to get ready to swing into 2026 at the Cardinal at St. John's Resort.
Football season is heating up on Prize Picks. Now, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So keep the season rolling by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Plus, the app for Prize Picks is really simple to use. Just pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projections, and if you're right, you could win big. Prize Picks is also available in 40-plus states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Most importantly, they don't play about your money. All transactions on the app are fast, safe, and secure. Don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Download the Prize Picks app today, use code SUNDAY, and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code SUNDAY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups just for playing, guaranteed. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR. Sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenest and Alex Zilkowski.
Welcome back to our final segment of today's Gridiron Wrap, and actually our final segment of the year, right, Alex?
Yeah.
How about that?
Might be.
So, we talked earlier about the job Matt Patricia's done with Ohio State's defense. Well, it's 4th and 10. Buffalo has the ball on its 29 with 1:51 to go. And up to this point, the job Vic Fangio's defense has done I spoke too soon. The old hook and ladder play gets them off the time, doesn't it? I swear. It seems to work all the time. And, kudos to Buffalo. They just pulled it out and gained about 20 yards or so. So first down, right around midfield. And gosh, that play seems to always work. And it did just now. But nonetheless, the thing I've been most impressed with in this game is the Eagles defense has just played exceptionally against, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of our generation, great running back in Cook. And so 2nd and 10 from midfield. Buffalo needs a touchdown to tie with an extra point that we can't assume will happen anyways, based on what just happened. But before we wrap things up, there was 2 other big bowl games that we wanted to talk about on New Year's Day at 4:00. We talked about the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. And I just noticed this, and I love this. It's the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. It's the Capital One Orange Bowl. It's the Allstate Sugar Bowl, but it's just the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm. The Rose Bowl presented by whoever.
The Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not corporate sponsored. It's the Rose Bowl. So I think that's precious and wonderful and all those good things. And a Buffalo receiver just made an incredible catch on the 10-yard line. It shouldn't be any other way. This game's going down to the end. What a classic, as you mentioned, for the final game at Orchard Park. What a classic! But the other 2 games on New Year's Day on Thursday, number 9 Alabama at number 1 Indiana. What do you think of that one?
It's kind of hard to ever picture myself saying this, but I like Indiana beating Alabama in football. I think Indiana,
as opposed to basketball, right?
Yeah, as opposed to basketball. And in basketball, Alabama might get Indiana this year. But Indiana's defense, they've showed up on the big occasions. They really did a great job shutting down that Ohio State offense. They did a great job on the road earlier this year against Oregon. Their defense is good. I think you just really can't let this game turn into a shootout because Alabama, they've struggled to run the ball, but Ty Simpson's done well, and they do have still some really dangerous receivers. So I think if Indiana just kind of slows down the pace of play and asserts their authority on the ground and with the defense, I think they can walk out and move on to the next round.
Right. I don't know how any logical look at this game, you can't pick Indiana. It's no knock against Alabama.
Yeah.
It's just Indiana has answered every single thing this year resoundingly. They haven't blinked. And, that quarterback's only gotten better, I think. And the confidence they have, it's remarkable. So, I agree with you. Alabama, I think will show up and play well, but I think in the end it'll be Indiana. And then the Sugar Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, to cap off the New Year's Day Bowl lineup, Ole Miss at Georgia, and Buffalo has just scored. The tight end does it again, Alex.
Wow.
How about that? Dawson Knox. I don't know if you go for 2 here or not. They might be. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be appropriate for the last game at Orchard Park?
Yeah.
You come back with seconds to go and memories of there will be a replay. And I'm looking at, he ain't in.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. Maybe that's appropriate.
Yeah.
But
well, if they do win, they could have another game. They still could win the division.
That's true.
Yeah.
His elbow is down and the ball is short of the line, in my opinion, with my aged eyesight. But that's what it looks like. So who knows? But with Josh Allen under center, I'd pull remember the Matthew Stafford leak and stretch from the Dallas game years ago?
Yep.
I might pull one of them, but I think it's clear, thankfully, I think it's clear that he's short, and it won't be a, controversial call. Barely short, less than half a length of a football, but nonetheless short. For sure. There's no question he's short. So here we go, baby. What a way to end our show, huh?
Oh yeah, what a great last segment.
If we're on the air long enough. But Ole Miss at Georgia, let me get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is just kind of a program in a little bit of turmoil, even if Pete Golding's a long-term coach. The fact that some of the offensive staff are working both there and at LSU. And I also just think Georgia's been playing really well down the stretch. They kind of dominated the SEC championship game. Their defense is starting to look like a Georgia defense we've all grown accustomed to. So even though they've played already and it's hard to beat a team twice in a year, I think Georgia will just continue to roll and win this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I see that game the same way, honestly. I think Georgia's been consistent. It's been there before. And and Ole Miss winning the opening round was no surprise.
Yeah.
But I think this game clearly looks like a game that will be in favor of Georgia. So here's what it is, Alex. It's come down to 4th down, 9 seconds left. I hear the music rolling. We don't want to leave. Sorry, listeners. But thank you nonetheless for tuning in. We've had a great run on Gridiron Rap for 2025. We'll be back next week as well to ring in the new year on the final weekend of regular season play in the NFL. But until then, we wish you all a happy new year. Alex, happy new year to you.
Happy New Year.
I know you're a happy Wolverine after the hiring of the new head coach. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Happy New Year, as we said. Thank you to Skinny Butcher. We wouldn't be here without you. And we will see you next week on Gridiron Rap on WJR 760, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Now WJR Health Watch. Here's Lloyd Jackson.
There's a cutting-edge treatment at Henry Ford called the High-Intensity Focus Ultrasound, or HIFU, which targets the specific areas of the brain responsible for tremors using